Joe Henges, both past district governors. Welcome to Brandy Carla Blackman, guest of Kim Adair, and Nancy Evans, guest of Elliot Patterson, and respected member. We also have, let's make a spot here. Hugo Frosto, guest of Rob Lemaster. And guest of our speaker, Ken Cheeseman. And go big or go home, Mark Urban. Mark Urban has invited too many people, too many wonderful guests that we're so happy to have here today that I would ask you all to please stand, and then you can read your name on the screen. Thank you guys all for being here. Thank you to those of you who are tuning in virtually. We're happy to have you watching the show. Now, for our program, we will be bringing up Jeff Ronstadt, member since August of 2006 with Ronstadt Insurance. Which high school did he go to, you guys? Southwood. You big Brad? Come on up.
Thank you for that, Browson. Thank you, Brownie. So, this presentation today is so near and dear to me, I'm sure because you guys know how much of a good bowler I am. It's really a good one, so I hope you enjoy it. So after getting his degree in education and teaching environmental education for 8 years, Stephen Paul attended 2 years of architecture school and then restored multiple Adobe homes in Tucson's Barrio Viejo. He and his wife, Elaine, founded and ran Royal Design for over 30 years, and they were nationally recognized and much published furniture design and manufacturing company that specialized in the visually beautiful but very, very challenging mesquite wood native to our Sonora Desert. In 2011, if that wasn't enough, he and his daughter Amanda founded Hamilton Distillers. And I remember there was an article in the Inside Tucson Business that showed the picture of them with the first distillery. And I'm thinking, what the heck are they doing? What is going on? And so Hamilton Distillers is the makers of Whiskey Hill Pie, based on the premise of making a truly Southwestern American single malt whiskey using a mesquite fire to dry malt instead of peat fire. Together they were 2020 James Beard semifinalist nominees. And for those of you that don't know, the James Beard Foundation is out of New York. It's a nonprofit organization whose mission is to celebrate, nurture, and honor chefs and other leading makers of America's great food culture who make it more delicious, diverse, and sustainable for everyone. So the James Beard Foundation is a pretty big deal. And these guys in Tucson were part of that in 2020. So it's very, very impressive. Stephen has recently stepped aside as manager of Hamilton Distillers in favor of bringing in a new CEO to run the company. And is currently the president of Hamilton Distillers Board of Directors, where he remains heavily involved in day-to-day operations of the distillery. So my fellow Rotarians and visiting guests, would you do me the honor of a warm welcome for our guest, Mr. Stephen.
Thank you, Jeff. First, I'd like to just recognize a few people here who are closely associated with the distillery. First, I think you've been introduced to Ken Cheeseman, our awesome new CEO. Also, here's two other board members over this way, Scott Steichler and Michael Miziorski. And somewhere here is Rudy Jatu, investor and one of our biggest cheerleaders. Maybe not. Okay. And if there's anybody else like Investors Inc., there he is. Hey, Rudy. Who I've missed seeing. Raise your hand or give me a yell. But we have some Angels group and some other people that could be here. So I'm going to come down and watch the slideshow with you. And I hope, yes, this microphone works. So I forgot there was going to be a little kind of bio intro that Jeff was going to do. So some of this stuff you're going to will sound familiar. But this whiskey project really started out of a profound, oops. I'm going to have to go this way. So this whiskey project really started out of a very fond sense of place, a profound love of the Sonoran Desert, and the goal was to make a very regional single malt whiskey. Sorry if this is so sensitive. Okay. So what is a single malt whiskey? All whiskeys are made from grain. A single malt whiskey is made from 100% barley malt mash bill or recipe. And it's one of the other standards for a single malt whiskey are that they're typically distilled twice in a copper pot still, and they're all made in a single distillery, so there's no outside source alcohol. So that's what a single malt whiskey is. This whole project started, as Jeff mentioned, because we had a custom furniture company for 30 years that specialized in mesquite wood, and you can see how beautiful the grain of mesquite is. Early on as a furniture designer, I realized that to get, if you wanted a wood with a beautiful grain, you pretty much had to go to rainforest woods, which I'm not inclined to do. But I realized early on that we had this very spectacular wood growing all around us here in the desert, mesquite. And so mesquite is while beautiful, very difficult to work. It's full of cracks, knots, wormholes. We find barbed wire in it. Sometimes we find nails, occasional bullets which don't harden the cutter heads because the lead is so soft. But and it doesn't like to go straight. And so, you can't get it dry. So we have to put our own in. There's a lot of difficulty in working with mesquite. It also generates a fair amount of waste. And so I would always take my scraps home to barbecue with, and I would actually always tell my wife, those are our profits going up in smoke, only I'm half joking. Boy, this remote is kind of slow here. I don't know. Say it again. Okay, great. Well, now we gotta go back, I'm sorry. Yeah, so yeah, we can go forward. Next slide, sorry. So one night in late 2006, my wife and I were barbecuing, drinking single malt scotch, which we did not infrequently, and I heard her voice the question, why couldn't you dry malt over a mesquite fire instead of a peat fire like they do in Scotland? So that just captivated me. The notion of being able to make a whiskey that is from this place that I love just took over. This photo, by the way, is not 2006. We were younger in 2006. But yeah, so I got a little 5-gallon still ordered from Portugal, started playing around with it. And in 2011, it started tasting good. In 2011, I graduated to a 40-gallon still. Next slide. And by that time, our daughter, Amanda, had moved home from New York. where she'd done 10 years. She loves living in Tucson now. She would not change it for the world. I mean, absolutely. Like New York, Tucson, I thought she'd never come back, but you know, it's great. So she helped, and by that time with the 40-gallon still, she said, Dad, we gotta get you legal. So she helped me, you know, get all the federal permitting, state and local, formed a little LLC, and we went to official product development off of that 40-gallon still. And she's my co-founder and still plays a huge role in the company. Next. So one of the kind of odd or unique things about us is that we malt our own barley for the Mesquite whiskey. And we use this tank-based system is a prototype system. In Scotland, the traditional way to malt barley is to spread it out on the floor to germinate. Grain bed, about yay deep, takes up a lot of floor space. So this tank-based system lets us malt 5,000 pounds in a 10-foot diameter footprint. So next slide. So a little bit about malt. Malt is critical in making whiskey and actually in making beer as well. Many people know that you need sugar to make alcohol. You feed sugar to yeast, the yeast consumes the sugar and makes alcohol. Whiskey and beer are both made from grain, and grain does not have any fermentable sugar. But this great thing happens in nature. When a grain germinates, it creates an enzyme that will turn starch to sugar. And it actually does that because so that the little seedling will have that little food boost to live off of while it's creating a leaf structure that then later can photosynthesize its own food. So if you're a beer drinker or a whiskey drinker, that little, you know, fact of nature is what enables us to enjoy beer and whiskey. And we're actually germinating that grain. And by the way, barley is the most efficient grain to malt. All grains malt, create that enzyme. And while we're germinating, we're looking for the growth of that little shoot that grows usually up on the inside of the kernel. This one is popped out, but that's how, when it gets to about 70% the length of the seed, that's when we know it's got the enzyme. So next. When it's produced the enzyme, it's officially malt, and then we're going to cook it later to really accelerate that conversion of starch to sugar. But now we've got to dry the malt. In Scotland, historically their fuel was peat. They don't have many trees over there, so they dig up peat bogs, which are plentiful, dry that peat, and then burn that peat for their fuel. So we're using our native mesquite, velvet mesquite, to build a fire in that burner box and send that heat and smoke up through the grain bed and dry the malt that way. And so that's how our mesquite Dorado gets its smoky flavor, and that's how peated whiskeys get their flavor from the same process. Next. So we have a pot still, which is just a copper pot. Our still has a stainless steel insulation jacket around it, and then that column is just an empty vapor chamber. There's no reflux component, which is good for making vodka. You might have seen stills with real tall columns, little windows going up, and there's those stills actually redistill as they go up the column. This is just a pot still with an empty vapor chamber. The more you distill, the less flavor you have. And so that's why the Scots just use the pot still, and so that's what we're doing. I think I didn't mention that we are basically using a Scottish model of single malt whiskey making, and with the exception that we do age our whiskey in new oak barrels. And in Scotland, they primarily use used casks, ex-bourbon casks, ex-sherry casks, etc. So we're using new oak. So next slide. We have won a ton of medals. The gold, silvers, bronzes. The most exciting medals that we've won are in the largest competition in the country called the San Francisco World Spirits Competition. We won 3 double golds there, which is really, that's fun. And gets us a lot of buzz. Lately, we've stopped entering competitions because there's so many of them. And we started just submitting our whiskeys to be reviewed. Next slide. And so recently we've gotten scores in the 90s, which is awesome. That's kind of seems like the benchmark for, I'm going to say, I guess, quality. But and especially, so the 93 in Wine Enthusiast in February was exciting. And actually, the 91 in Whiskey Advocate was more exciting because they're a little stingier than some other publications. So anything in the 90s with the Whiskey Advocate is super, super rewarding. Next slide. We've always gotten a ton of press, and at this point, I want to give kudos out to Visit Tucson. So Visit Tucson, coupled with our UNESCO designation as a city of gastronomy, has generated a ton of good press for us. And I'm going to say, and this is not an exaggeration, Visit Tucson, that's generated a ton of articles, including some big, big articles. Whiskey Advocate, Forbes, tons of magazines and other venues. So yeah. So Visit Tucson, I want to just make this point, has been fabulous, and we are big fans of theirs. Next slide. The one thing that really surprised me was the amount of promotion that you have to undertake. I naively thought that we could create whiskey and the world would beat down our door. But no, we've got to get out there and hustle. And so we end up doing a lot of market work out of state and in state. This slide is of our New York distributor. We are sold in 16 states. Arizona is our biggest state sales-wise, and we are really now focusing on increasing our sales in Arizona because we have realized that we can grow so much in Arizona, and we really need to kind of own our state. And so we just actually just brought in a fantastic Arizona State sales manager, Tom Jonovich, and he's going to be awesome for us. But anyway, that's our focus. We're not going to turn our backs on the other states, but we're going to just really emphasize working in Arizona. So I think you can go to one more. Yeah, that's it. But yeah, this project has been really rewarding. Tucson has embraced this whiskey project in an incredible way. And a few years ago, I actually started feeling like it's something that belongs to Tucson, and that we're just kind of the caretakers of it. That's how strong the response has been in Tucson. So yeah. I'm not sure if we can field some questions. If anybody has questions?
Where's the distillery?
The distillery is Grant and Eichmann area. It's on Forbes Boulevard. And we do tours. My daughter told me, don't forget to mention the tours, so you just remind me. So we do tours and tastings, which are really fun. We walk you through the whole production process and then we sit down for a not so formal tasting of our core whiskeys. And so those are really fun if anybody's ever inclined to come and see what we do. Yes?
How many whiskeys do you have?
So we have, our core whiskeys are 3. I should have put a slide in here of them. The Mesquite Dorado is our kind of signature, the brainchild of the whole project. And by the way, we're trying to push the term mesquite, not peated. We're trying to get that into the national vocabulary. Our Whiskey Del Bock Classic is not mesquite, so it's modeled after a Speyside Scotch or a Highland Scotch, and in that region of Scotland they don't use much, if any, peat. And then we have an unaged whiskey that is called our Old Pueblo, and that is primarily a whiskey that's used for cocktails. It's unaged. It's mesquited. So it goes into the barrel to make our Dorado, but it's not unaged. And yeah, so we do have some special releases about 4 times a year. We call them our distiller's cuts. Those are always bottled at cask strength, and those are an exception to the new oak paradigm. We age the whiskey in the new oak, and then we finish it in Calvados casks or cognac casks or Madeira casks and things like that. So that's what kind of characterizes our distiller's cuts.
Can you describe the difference between Scotch and the bourbon process? I mean, it's really different.
Yeah, so first of all, like I said, all whiskeys are made from grain. Bourbon has to be, by law, 51% corn. So it's a corn-based whiskey. And they use a sour mash process, which involves keeping some of the old, the old fermented product, and then what would you call it, inoculating using that. And so it is a not totally, but it is a very different process. We are basically cooking our barley at a temperature that accelerates that conversion starts to sugar, and so yeah, it's different. I mean, distillation is kind of the same. They do typically distill 3 times, as do Irish whiskeys, and so we have to, because we only distill twice, we have to really be careful of our call them cuts when we're separating the more volatile alcohols that are also formed along with ethanol, which is what you drink. That's the potable form of ethanol. So we're just distilling twice, and we have to really be careful with our distillations. That's a whole, I'm leaving a lot out, but that process is critical to what we do. And yeah, maybe on a tour, you could learn about that. But shouldn't take the time to describe that now.
I have a question over here. I'm going through the online purchase right now, but where else might I purchase a bottle?
In Tucson?
Yes.
We are available in a lot of places. I'm going to name some independents first, which we're super fond of. So Plaza Liquors, Rum Runner, Westbound, in the Mercado District, and a bunch of others. Some of the big box stores we're in are Total Wine and More. We're in Safeway, we're in the Whole Foods that has a spirits license. We're also in AJ's, and we're in Costco. Yeah. So.
David.
Yes.
So first off, thanks for coming. We really appreciate it. What's your favorite whiskey that you guys have ever created or made?
That we've ever created?
Yeah, yours.
Boy, that's so. So you're probably asking about distiller's cut. I mean, you know, as far as the core products, I go back and forth between our classic and our Dorado, depending on my mood. In the summertime, I'm mostly drinking our classic because the smoke, you know, there's not the smoke presence. But we bottled, blended a Madeira cask finish a few years ago that was stunning. That was probably, that one sticks out in my mind. So that was a distiller's cut, and we finished our classic in Madeira cask. So yeah. And just kind of a little preview of what's coming up. I mean, our summer distiller's cut is going to involve some ex-Saltern cask. We're in the process of blending that right now. Next up, it's actually some rye casks. And coincidentally, those rye casks are coming from High West Distillery, which is where Kent came from. We have some ex-cognac casks, some rum casks coming out. So there's a bunch of exciting stuff happening.
Stephen.
Yes.
John Wong here.
Hello, John.
You made some beautiful whiskey purchase for us 30 years ago, and it's still beautiful. Thank you.
That's always heartwarming to hear that this happens.
Question about the whiskey. What is your annual production volume?
So the industry measures, one of the ways that it measures this volume is in 12-pack cases. So 750 milliliter bottles, 12-pack cases. Those are 9-liter cases. We, at our current level of production, we can produce 4,200 9-liter cases a year. And that's working kind of a 40-hour week. So we've been scrambling to keep up with demand. And so we have some new tanks ordered that are going to double our fermentation capacity and some other things, and it's going to get us up to the ability to produce about 7,500 9-liter cases a year. And so that's super exciting. Pressure's on the sales team, but the sales have been going up every year, and we're confident we're going to be able to, you know, sell that product. So yeah, that's the answer to that. We actually are, you know, we're actually planning at this point to build a new distillery in probably 2023. That's our goal. So which will be a lot more volume. So yes.
When you have your special releases, do they also? I'm over here. Sorry. When you have your special releases, are they in your regular retail establishment, or are they only in specific ones? Because the release has to be.
The distiller's cut?
Yes.
They are almost always sold out of the distillery, and so because they sell out of our retail, so they're in retail outlets. Yes, and so sometimes they'll sell out before we do it at the distillery. But yeah, so you can check on you know, some of those venues for availability. But I think we have like 60 bottles left of our spring release right now, and we'll be bottling our summer release that Saltern cask finish shortly.
Is there any way to get on your waiting list for notices?
For what?
Distillers.
You could call, yeah, I mean, for the upcoming?
Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
Sign up on.
You could, yeah, call Sarah, who is fantastic in our office, and you can actually, you can get our number, but yes, call Sarah and she can put you on the list. Yeah, anybody else? I think I'm kind of over time here, but Jen, I'll let you cut me off. So one of the things we're doing is aging in a small barrel, a 15-gallon barrel. And we did that so that we could turn the whiskey around more quickly. It ages more quickly in a small barrel because there's a higher ratio of wood surface contents on a small barrel. And so the whiskey 14 or 15 months. And it's critical that we monitor that maturation process very carefully because it can start to get too much hope. Yeah, so I feel like I should wrap that question up.
Thank you, Stephen. Thanks for being here today. We have a tradition in our club in which we have a keynote speaker sign a book that we donate to our Make Way for Books library. And today's book is Never Touch a Porcupine. And I would have to say that especially after drinking whiskey, right? You might get these crazy ideas. So thank you. Now, on to a Paul Harris presentation, you guys. Charlotte and Scott.
Greetings. Sorry for the slight delay. Paul Harris Fellows are presented as an honor, a specific kind of honor for a specific charitable benefit provided to Rotary International by our members and others. And they're so honored when their support of Rotary International reaches $1,000. And they're honored again and again each time they repeat such generosity. I wanted to tell you that because we have a lot of guests that you might not get what the Paul Harris Fellowship is presented for. So, Ralph Phillips is receiving his Paul Harris Fellow +2. Ralph was born in Phoenix, AZ, and he was an Arizona Wildcat with a split major in both economics and Spanish. And that's where he started racing bicycles and loving them. So, he started Fair Wheel Bikes in 1973. Then in 2000, he expanded his business to the web and to importing and exporting. It appears his passion has gradually become his business for 48 years, and it continues today. Ralphie's other interests include travel, fitness, dogs, hiking, birds, classics, films, and red wine. He raced the 100-mile route in El Tour in 1985, finishing in 3rd place. Sorry, Ralph. And he raced 4 more times, his final race competing in the 75-mile route, also finishing in 3rd place. For the last 26 years, Ralph has done El Tour's live radio broadcast from the lead vehicle. And he's also a supporter of El Grupo Youth Cycling. When asked why he supports Rotary International programs, Ralph responds to provide humanitarian service and contribute to the development and goodwill of peace in the world. Congratulations, Ralph Phillips, and thank you for your continued support of RI. Don Clark is receiving his Paul Harris +3. Don was born in Vallejo, California, and came to Tucson in 1963, and attended the University of Arizona, where Charlotte Harris was. She was known as Charlotte Cleveland then, and I was there as well. It was nice to see you again here. He earned a Bachelor of Science in Accounting. He first worked for Pete Marwick, then the Estes Company, and he opened his own CPA firm in 1997. Don also served in the Air National Guard for 9 years and is past president of the Elcon Optimists Club. He served 16 years with the Pima County Fair Commission's board, as well as the El Rio Health Center Foundation. He and his wife, Jocelyn, have been married for 60 years, and they have one daughter, Renee, who lives in Tucson. Don is a 37-year member. In fact, these guys are all well known to all of our club members, I assure you. His favorite Rotary moment was being elected to our club's board of directors. When asked why he supports Rotary International programs, he responds, because they do so much widespread good internationally and locally that would not be possible for him to do otherwise. Congratulations and thank you, Don Clark, for your continuing support. Robin Stoddard is receiving his Paul Harris Fellow +3. Before Robin became a member here in 1997, he was honored by our club with the club's 4-way test award for his work with youth. Robin's parents were both pilots, you know. His father was a fighter pilot in the Korean conflict, and his mother was a Cessna pilot. Robin served 30 years in the Air Force with over 4,000 hours of flying, 3 different types of fighter aircraft, and also a Russian threat aircraft. His last 2 combat deployments were in Afghanistan. In fact, he was awarded the Bronze Star when attached to U.S. Special Forces on a ground mission in 2002. He personally debriefed Afghanistan President Hamid Karzai in the presidential palace in Kabul. He deployed again in Afghanistan in 2005 and flew his last combat mission when he was 50 years old. So, when on leave, Robin would sometimes fly missionaries to the Sierra Madre Mountains in Mexico, and he saw how excited the kids were about airplanes. This led to his idea of creating Right Flight, which helps about 1,000 kids a year. Right Flight uses motivational power of aviation to help students set and achieve higher goals and earn the right to fly a light airplane. And it works. Educators and parents continue to rave about how it helps their kids. Just last Saturday, 18 more kids flew for the first time, thanks to Robin's program. And I learned at lunch today, he told me that there's 22 more that are going to fly this weekend after not any of them flying for a full year due to COVID. So it's back. And here's how Robin answered the question. I support Rotary primarily for its first principle, is it the truth? Congratulations, Robin Stoddard, and thank you for your continued support of Rotary. One more thing to do, we have a habit of providing amazing gifts, loosely relevant to our honorees' interests. And let's start with Ralph Williams. Ralph, for your dedication and commitment. Ralph.
No, you tell us.
Not Ralph. Ralph, thanks for your dedication, your amazing dedication to El Tour. We have for you, it's a framed poster for your shop, your office, your residence. That photo was done by fellow Rotarian Chris Mooney. Way to go, Chris. So Chris, the photographer, you put a brand new bicycle. Don Clark, we know you most enjoy traveling, and especially the countryside of Arizona, small towns seem to call you. So for you, we have a book with hundreds of ideas about day trips with kids, since we're all kids now, right? Fun with the family in Arizona. And finally, Robin, for your reading enjoyment, we have a biography of another accomplished pilot, somebody named Lindbergh. So let's all, I think it's
Congratulations, you guys. And now if Joe Hedges and Kirk Reed would like to come up, do you have a special announcement? Our past district governors here.
Let me begin with full disclosure. Former RI President Cliff Dockerman, who served in the mid-90s, said about past district governors, they're like an old pair of tennis shoes. Familiar, worn around the edges, but the tongues just keep wagging. The pandemic this past year plus has changed us, our lives, it's impacted our families, and it's impacted our work, but you know that. It's also impacted District 5500. We postponed a district conference to the spring, then we postponed it to the summer, and now it has gone virtual. For the first time ever, we've had a district governor, past district governor, who has resided over a district that for 3 months could not operate in a traditional manner. In fact, because it was the first time we held our district governor installation in a virtual format, we were not able to recognize the amazing achievements and the work done by the district governor who served during the 2019-2020 Rotary year. Your own Ellie Patterson. So, although we usually do this at the governor's installation and we're not able to do it, we waited. We waited for a district conference that was canceled and postponed and eventually canceled. And then we waited for her Rotary Club to start meeting in person. And what better time than when you're trying new venues to come and recognize the achievements of Ellie Patterson, immediate past district governor. Ellie, would you come up here, please?
We are so honored to present this memento to Ellie. It says, thanks for helping us break things the Rotary way. Ellie,
well, this was a total shock. I had no idea. So when Kirk said, Ellie, can I go with you to the meeting? Sure, Kirk, I'd love to have you. So little did I know. Anyway, it was a sheer pleasure and an honor of serving you all and serving District 5500. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe, Kurt, Ellie. Thank you for your amazing leadership as always. All right, I think we're starting with me. I have a couple things before we start passing the mic, Gary. First of all, I wanted to let you guys know to save the date for May 5th. We are going to be hosting Coach Jed Fish for our meeting. So the new U of A head football coach will be here on May 5th. So you want to make sure to save that date because that'll be a fun meeting. Also, please remember, we all receive these surgeries. We want to get them, the club's feedback about the venues we're visiting. So you each have one of these on your way out the door. They will be collecting them. So fill them out, turn them in. And also, you guys know we have a centennial event coming up in September. The guest list is up, so if you guys have a moment to take a look at the Club Runner website, or the Rotary Club of Tucson website, you can go ahead and register for that. So we would like you to do that as soon as possible. Now, Fletcher McCusker is here to make an announcement. He's an honorary member, you guys, did you know that? I also have it on good authority that Fletcher McCusker is the most impactful person ever in downtown Tucson. Yes, ever.
Just as a kid, this
I got it.
I thought it was not.
Just kidding.
Hello.
Oh!
Hello, baby. You might know that song? Thank you for being downtown. I might be so bold. Welcome to all you future downtown rats. You would be honorary rats because when we were kids in the 50s, our parents would drop us off. It
Mr. Urban is here, fellow Rio Nuevo board member, saying hi, Mark. I saw Mike Ortega. Mike's still around. Mike is a city manager. Juan Ciscomani from the governor's office, and a number of our downtown heroes are welcoming you to the rapidly remodeling Tucson Convention Center. Mark just wanted me to spend a few minutes with you talking about what's happening here and around us as you evaluate this venue. The silver lining of the pandemic for us has been that we've had a construction crew on this site every day now for the last 13 months. And you can see some of that here. I would encourage you to meander around as you leave and drive around slowly downtown. If you haven't been downtown in a year or even 6 months, I assure you, you will not recognize a lot of what's come out of the ground here during the pandemic. And I will tell you, there's $500 million of future projects that you have yet to see. Quickly, some slides to catch you up on what's going on around you. You all know what we do. Next slide, please. Projects, next slide. Tucson Convention Center, just briefly, you'll see it as you walk around. $65 million of Rio Nuevo, these are your state tax dollars, being reinvested in this venue. We're remodeling the ballrooms, the meeting rooms. You've probably seen the new garage on the east side. We're building a new garage on the west side. This big pile of dirt right here as you go out is 16,000 square feet of new meeting rooms, state-of-the-art meeting rooms. We're finishing the renovation of the exhibition hall. And finally, in my lifetime, the restoration of the plazas, including the now historic famous Egbo fountains, which will restore water features to this plaza. I've been bold enough to call this Tucson's Lincoln Center, and I think you will all see that here in the next few months. Next slide. We talked about that. Next slide. Some renderings of things going around us. Again, the meeting rooms, the exhibition hall space, the ticket area, also historical. The Doubletree Hotel is now done and open. If you haven't been by, I'd encourage you to visit it. It's an extraordinary property just to our corner, and a really nice new restaurant. That's the next slide, I think. Literally been open for a week. Now, within the next year, there'll be 4 hotels surrounding this property. Next slide, please. This is the pool area of the Doubletree, which is on the 2nd floor. The lobby's open, and the restaurant opens up to a patio onto Cushing Street and allows you access to the exhibition hall. Thank you to our friends from Caliber for that construction. Next slide. The Flynn, I saw Humberto here, and I think Omar, Tucson's newest and most modern apartment complex, is just a couple of days away, right, Bert? Beautiful. You see it being constructed around us. Concierge level apartments. You're seeing a lot of residential activity in downtown. Next slide. Marist College, if you look east of us or walk down the beautiful cobblestone streets to the cathedral, this is the oldest building in Arizona, restored by the Catholic Church in Rio Nuevo. Includes a beautiful new chapel and a 500-seat convention center immediately across the street from the TCC. Next slide. That's the Cathedral Square, as they call it, the new cathedral, the convention center. And Rio Nuevo actually purchased that street from the city so that we could cobblestone it. The Hilton Hotels at the Cathedral Square, 2 new hotels which should be open in the next few months, an extended stay Hilton and a traditional Hilton, literally right across the street from the cathedral. Next slide. One South Church, a remarkable project, came to us unsolicited by a group out of Scottsdale. You're familiar with this property. It's the former DEP high-rise 20-story building downtown. They have acquired it to convert it, are you listening, to a 5-star hotel. West are the developers of the Montage. They acquired this property, closed on it just a few weeks ago, and in the process of converting it to a 5-star hotel. I think there's a slide to show the ground level, which will be a restaurant, plaza, public space attached to the new hotel with offices above it. Rendezvous Urban Flats, one of the apartment projects that just opened a few weeks ago, immediately adjacent to what used to be TEP, all within walking distance of this venue. Next slide. And that's just in walking distance of around you. What you haven't seen yet, there's huge projects coming online. There was an article last week in the New York Times. This Tucson's done an extraordinary feature on us recently. We're seeing an unbelievable amount of inbound interest in Tucson, primarily from people out of town and out of state. New York City, Boston, Salt Lake City, Scottsdale, Phoenix are looking at huge investments in downtown. A lot of that in this downtown core. So if we can do anything as you evaluate this opportunity, we'd like to thank, as Glenn's still around, this is the first event that we've had in this venue now in 13 months. So thank you, enjoy your lunch.
Thank you, Fletcher, and Bruce is going to talk about home hospitality.
Fletcher, I have to say, I've hosted a number of events here in the past, and this is phenomenal. So look forward to booking more in the future. So home hospitality, next week we are dark. I don't know how many people signed up. We've got some fabulous hosts that have opened up their homes for us. If you have not done so, please go online. The cutoff is tomorrow afternoon. I believe it's 2 o'clock. So we've got about 8, I believe it's 8 hosts. So please take a look at what they're serving and sign up no later than tomorrow. Thank you.
I was just walking around looking for Joe Janishevsky.
Here I am.
There he is. Step on up.
Okay, camera one. Hi. So, we have a big event coming up, and it's going to be April 24th at Camp Lawton. A lot of folks have been there. It's going to be a beautiful day. It's going to be a beautiful ride, and I guarantee it, because I get to define it. So, here we go. So we've got, there's still plenty of room to come. It's a big camp. So we have bring your water, your gloves, your hats, sunscreen, nests, rakes, shovels, and pickaxes. And we'll have plenty of work to do. There's some really great news that I'd like to share. Just found out the other day that the Rincon Rotary Club is going to be joining us. Just found out walking from the car that the Catalina Club will be joining us. And yesterday at the Scout office, they told me they have 98 Scouts and Scouters who are going to be up there as well. So it's going to be a great day. We're going to have lots of fun. And remember, this is all about peace through service. So come join a great day so we can help create peace through service. Thank you.
All right, Daryl.
Chris, I was going to use the clicker, but Stephen Paul asked me to paranoid about it, so could you advance the slides? Following next week, which is home hospitality, we started in reference, but we'll be finishing up our venue tour of potential new homes for our weekly meetings. And it will be at the Westward Look. Different place. Everybody, I think, probably knows where the Westward Look is. Sign up on the website. It's available currently. Next slide, please. We'll be in the Sonoran room. This slide is a little bit busy because it's showing the rooftop venue as well as the main ballroom, which we will be in. Next slide, please. There's a picture. The bottom one is of the rooftop itself, which would be a potential location for some of our events up there. And I believe that is it. This is just a layout of the room. So again, go on the website, and our speaker, Doug Hotstad, will be talking about the technology transfer from the University of Arizona. We're going to maximize our attendance, and then we will also have a survey as we're being asking you to fill that out and drop off at the door for next week as well. So thanks very much.
Jeremy is coming up on the stage.
Yes.
of you think I'm here to talk about this year's car show. Well, you're wrong. But I will tell you something. You all got a form from Jeannie Zita and Roger Harwell to sign up for how many tickets you want digitally and how many you want to buy actual tickets and what you will be willing to be volunteered for the car show. So please, please fill that out. We've only had 51 of you fill that out, so please help us out. Second of all, we've already sold 2,043 tickets digitally online, and Mark Irvin sold 1,099 of them. So the rest of us have to get busy. Okay, so what I'm really here to talk about is next year's car show. You're going, what? But you know, this club is a planning club, and we always think ahead. And so we're already thinking about our 6th, by maybe the 5th or the 6th one, you're gonna know who it is. But bear with me. This person grew up in central Illinois in a small farming town of 4,000 people, where there are lots of cornfields, and where mom was a teacher, and dad ran a men's clothing store. Number 2, this person was the youngest child of 4, having 2 sisters and a brother. Number 3, this child was an 8th grade student at La Posada's current board chair's class. Her name is Jane Latier. So she knows this person well. And purportedly, after this person, who's going to be our car show person, was in her class, our board chair left teaching altogether and went to law school. Sports was a big thing in this person's family. Brother Pete became a pro football player with the Redskins. How many of you know who this is? Yeah, don't say. Okay. Like Jim Levinsky, number 5, this person did their undergrad at the University of Illinois. So it's not Jim. Number 6, this person came to the University of Arizona to obtain their Master's of Science in Sports Management, as well as a Master's in Education, so very well educated. Number 7, this person played baseball really well and loves also to play golf. Number 8, this person went on to be a coach and an athletic director of a local high school. Kind of know who this is, don't you? Number 9, this person designed a special bat for training baseball players. Number 10, this person met their business partner in college. Number 11, this person owns several really well-known assisted living and memory care organizations in Pima County. That's a dead giveaway. And is committed to the care and well-being of older people. Number 12, this person is married to Tracy and has a son, Spencer, who lives in Minnesota, and a daughter, KJ, who lives in Denver. Number 13, this person loves hiking, loves to golf with other Rotarians, likes to drink single malt scotch. I think that person will be well acquainted with you, Stephen. Number 14, this person is a devoted Rotarian, a member of our club since 2009, and has served previously as the Sergeant at Arms. Number 15, this person has a number of very special talents, is very organized, and an effective leader. And last but not least, this person has helped the car show in many different jobs throughout the years on the car show, and will be a great car show leader in 2022. So please help me congratulate and thank Bobby Larson. Bobby, you have to come up here. No pun intended, Bobby is stepping up to the plate. And Bobby, in honor of us and our speaker today, I have a great single malt scotch for you.
It's an honor to be able to head up everybody. Just be ready. I'll be asking you all to be doing something, because after Joni's year this year, you know we're going to have a lot to live up to. I do have to tell you, in case you're ever invited to Steve Pickering's house, however, for scotch, had a couple other Rotarians I knew were going to be there, and so I thought this would be really fun. And then Joni shows up, so now it's 4 ex-car show heads So if that invitation ever comes your way, think about it. But thank you very much. I look forward to working with all of you.
Thank you guys for coming today. Thank you for the amazing presentation. Thank you, virtual guests, for tuning in. If you would like to donate to our scholarship cups, there is a cup at the registration table as you walk out, and make sure you return your name tags. Remember, next week is home hospitality. So if you haven't signed up, make sure to sign up by tomorrow. And if you guys want to join me in a toast. So, with whiskey on our minds, I have a quote from Mark Twain. Too much of anything is bad, but too much good whiskey is barely enough. So, here's to being in a place where we can spend time with all of our friends, with or without whiskey.
Here, here.
Have a great day, you guys.